Good evening. I'm so glad to be here. I'm delighted to be here. I know I use that word a lot, and I'm a little early, so I'm just gonna lit the candle. I don't know if you guys can see it. I just realized that hi. I don't know. That must be Lupita. Hi with the hearts. Whoever's here, thank you so much for being here. I know I'm like a minute or so early. I just realized that these matches that I use, on the box it says, "You are my perfect match." This is funny because, hi, yes, you're here. I know I can see it. Top fan. Loopy, you have a top fan tag. I love that. And so does Anna, I think. Hi, Anna. Let me see what you wrote, because I got to put the glasses on and wait for everybody to accumulate. Evening. I like that a lot of things delight you. Yes, they do, Anna. A lot of things delight me. And thank you for noticing that. Thank you for saying that. Thank you for putting words to... words are so important. It's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about words and forgiveness, and how forgiveness is fuel for the future. It's the fuel that funds our future. That's exactly what it is. So let me just, while you guys are accumulating and gathering people around you, and I'm so glad you're here, sweeties. Whoever else is coming on, please let me know which corner of the universe you're lighting up today. I would love to hear from you, and I would love to speak with you. So if you're coming on, make sure to type something into the chat box. Otherwise, I will not know that you're here. I'm doing this from a tiny little phone. So let me see if I can tilt this just a little more so I can have you right here in my vision. I say this is funny because I've been using these matches. I have these all over. I have these at the office. I have this in all over places in my house. And it says on the matchbox, hi, Marcel. It says, "You are my perfect match." So the reason why this is funny is because so many of you know I'm single, and I've been sending out matches into the universe. Actually, I don't send out matches, because all a match does is just light a tiny little fire like that, okay? And that doesn't last very long. So in my book, a match is only a tool to light a bigger, more sustaining, hot, fabulous, fantastic connection fire, one that glows and glows forever, glows in a relationship. Yeah, and a lot of people say to me, "Oh my God, Liana, you are so dreaming." But I'm not dreaming. And what does any of Liana's ability to create a love, create a relationship, create anything, create a future? Well, why am I bringing that even into the conversation today? Well, because it all has something to do. One thing has to do with the other. Hi, Marcel. I'm so delighted that you're here. I am really delighted. If you guys can't see the lighting up in my face, then maybe you should tweak the volume of your brightness, because I'm so excited. And here's the reason why I'm excited. So these conversations that we're having, it's not like I've planned these. I've been asking the universe and God. I have one prayer that I say in the morning, and the prayer is, and it's in the front of my book. For those of you who want to get my book, I'm going to show you wait, let me show you real quick. Oh my God. Sorry, I had to get out of the picture for a second. This is it. I haven't told anybody about it because this is a book that I wrote many, many years ago, like 5 years ago or something. And it's called A Kiss Through a Veil. But I'm not going to get into the book, but I want to tell you, it's not on Amazon, so if you want it, you have to order it. It's $18. And I will tell you the story in a minute. because the story has to do with forgiveness. But in here, in the front of the book, it says, my prayer that I always say in the morning. This book is for all the angels in my life, and the book says, here's Liana's prayer, and I'm going to show it to you just so that you guys can see it, and then I'm going to read it. Dear God, allow my mouth to speak and for your words to be felt. So the short version of this is, dear God, allow me to open my mouth and for your words to come out. And that's really what these conversations have been. It's really been quite phenomenal. When we finish these conversations, I never know what happened. I don't remember what I said. I just remember the memory in my body is how it feels. So I'm actually really happy that I don't get to see how many people come on and who's watching. And, I want to be here in the conversation. I'd like to be the vessel, which is essentially what we all are. We are vessels of all the goodness of the universe, of all the divine goodness that's present in the world, when we allow ourselves to be. We don't always do that. We don't always say, how big is this vessel, and at what level can I play in the goodness in the world? We don't do that. Well, imagine what would happen if we, thank you, Lupi, these are, I love the hearts. Thank you for just being, for all of you, those of you who are coming to watch, those of you who are watching this in the replay, thank you for being here. Marcel Crutcher. By the way, Marcel, I just have to let you know, I'm going to go see Michael Castley, one of the twins. Do you remember the Castley twins? I'm having dinner with Michael tomorrow night. He came to my 60th birthday party. Just a side note, I know a lot of you don't know who I'm talking about. You are the highlight of my Monday and Thursday night. Oh my God, Marcel, that's so sweet. By the way, let me just interject something while we're still waiting for people to come on. So Thursday, this week Thursday, I have a meeting and I'm not going to be around. So I am going to do my Facebook Live on Thursday. I will do it, but it's going to happen in the morning. So it's going to be happening at 10 o'clock Pacific, which is 1 o'clock Eastern. I know Australia is going to say, Liana, what? That's when we're in bed. So forgive me, once in a while it's going to change times because there's other things that are happening to live a bigger life. So, but I didn't want to not do it. So for those of you who now know, please pass it on. Let people know that Thursday is going to be happening in the morning for me because I'm getting in the car and going to my Transformational Leadership Council meeting in San Diego. And then I am off the grid for a few days and going to fill my cup with like-minded transformational leaders and thought leaders, and I'm so delighted and excited to go. But I wanted to stay true to my commitment to doing Facebook Lives. So let me just share with you why I brought out this book, and what the whole story about forgiveness behind this book is, and why I chose the topic of forgiveness today. So let me start with that. The topic of forgiveness. And thank you for all the hearts. It's so sweet. Before I start saying what I'm saying, let me just read. What does that poem sound like in French? Oh, Anna, that's such a beautiful thing to say. I'm not going to say it right now, but, the French have a wonderful saying. You want a good deep blue flame that lights up? Yes. That's so beautiful. You guys are so awesome. Keep talking. Would love to see a photo of you. Aww. We will send you guys a photo. Lupita has done a really beautiful job of taking pictures, and we will share those pictures with you. Thank you for asking. So, back to forgiveness. We are, in the Jewish calendar, we're on the 9th day of Elul. Elul is the month before Rosh Hashanah, which is the new year. And in this month before the preparation to go into a new year, and when we have the new year, so Rosh Hashanah, between the days between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur are the days of atonement, 10 days of atonement between New Year's and Yom Kippur, which is fasting, 25 hours of fasting. And the month leading up to Rosh Hashanah, and some of you may have watched my sister, she does these really fantastic posts. Every day she's doing a post in the month of Elul, and she talks a lot about the things that, you know, enhance our lives. She's doing a really beautiful job. So for those of you who are not following her, please follow her. Her name is Angela Madahi. Angela, like the angel, and then Madahi, Maddahi. We're going to tag her in this video so that my sister knows that I'm pushing for her greatness. She is awesome. So when we focus, when we turn our attention and we focus our attention on someone else, and we lift while we climb, is what I call it. We get to be the conduit to our, not just to someone else's greatness, but first and foremost to our own greatness and to our own up-leveling. Okay? So when things aren't going so well is when I look inside myself. And yes, Marcel, she's an awesome sister, and you know her very well. So when things aren't going too well is when the true character of a human being shows up. You know, it's easy to love people when there's lots of money and there's great cars and there's, you know, you can squander time and you can squander relationships, which is what a lot of people do, and take things for granted. The true character of who we are, in my book, or in the way that I view the world, comes out when shift hits the fan. Yes, SHIFT, shift. Not the other word, but that too. So when shift hits the fan, you get to see the true face of love. You get to see the true face of forgiveness. We get to see inside of ourselves what we are committed to, because we are constantly, every day, no matter what people say, we're constantly committed to something. The question is, what am I committed to? So I can be committed to seeking your greatness, or I can be committed to seeking your guilt. And if I am committed to seeking your greatness, then forgiveness is the most important stepping stone into that project, or into that action, or into that, I call it a practice. For some people, it's a project. I was just having this conversation yesterday, that there are people who think, you know, this is like a project. Okay, I'm going to go talk to this person. It's a project, and then I say my amends, or I make the forgiveness, and then it's over. But it's not. Forgiveness is a way of life for me. Being in an open state of my heart and keeping the portal of love and tenderness and grace and nobility and joy and preciousness and delight and just all those yummy words and feelings. To keep that open, we want to consider ourselves in the space of divinity. Because look, it's super easy to get pissed off at someone. Loopy, you're in the hearts. I love all these hearts. Let's see here. Oh, thank you so much, Anna. You're so lovely. You know, I'm gonna just take a moment here and acknowledge Anna. You know, what you bring to this conversation, what you bring to the conversation of my life and my work and my world, and you and I have never met, you bring a special opening. And you don't just do that for me. I mean, you do this for me and I'm aware of it, but this is who you are. You bring generosity, and you bring it with such joy. You bring your generosity to the table, and to the table of my life, and to the expansion of this universe, and to the ideas that other people are upholding. in such a magical, powerful way that just seeing your name come up on my screen really puts a smile on my face. It delights me. So thank you for being here. And thank you for always being so wonderfully generous. It really moves me. Thank you. Let's see. It's just so sweet. Sweet is the word. So let's get back to forgiveness. It takes a great human being to be forgiving. It takes us, all of us, to get bigger, meaning our bodies. When our bodies can hold forgiveness and sorrow and preciousness and joy and bliss, all when a body can contain that, you know, all these feelings side by side. That's what I call powerfully living in the tension of the paradox of life. And the tension of the paradox is I can be upset at something and I can witness my upset. And in the same breath, in the same moment, I can make a choice to let it go. Because if you really think about it, when someone upsets us or a situation upsets me or you, what good is it to hold on to it? Like, what does it do? It completely disintegrates my well-being. It doesn't give me any agency. It doesn't give me any delight. There's that word again. It's just a breakdown. And it corrodes the beauty and the joy and the bliss which we always have access to when we choose. So either one of those, the corrosion is a choice. It is. It's like I have stuff happen and it's difficult and often it's very sad. And the reactivity that other people have towards me or towards the things that I say, or, you know, sometimes you have stuff going on with family members or with lovers or with husbands, ex-husbands, children. The choice of how that goes and where it goes and how you be with it, how I be with it, is mine. The choice is yours. And we don't take enough agency, don't take enough responsibility, the ability to respond to situations. And I believe that forgiveness, just like acknowledgement I talked about last week, is a huge, powerful tool. So when I find myself in a place of discomfort, you know, my body is discomfortable, something doesn't sit right, it doesn't sit well, the first place I go to is acknowledgement. And when the acknowledgement doesn't want to quite gel, when it's not happening, or I can't see it, or I'm having a hard time seeing it in that person, or I'm having a hard time being it or giving it, I go to forgiveness. I go, what is it that I'm holding on to? What is it that I'm entrenched in that I am not willing to give up? Like, what am I not willing to give up? I'm looking at my candle here because it's starting to die. So let me just light another one because I want to make sure that we have a candle while we're talking. And it's interesting because the minute I go to forgiveness, the minute I go to a place of, well, is it an acknowledgement that I'm not doing either for someone else or for myself? Or what's happening? Like, what am I feeling? Is the feeling world, is the portal into it? It's not in the mind. So the process of forgiveness is not a process that, at least not for me, I don't know how it is for you. It's like when I have to forgive someone, I usually wear this ring. So I wore this ring today. It's a big heart. You see? To remind me, because we forget. And sometimes the person that you want to forgive or you haven't forgiven is you. In AA, there's a practice that when we write a first step, which is, it's like you make amends to people, and like you put yourself on that list first. Forgiving others, forgiving myself. And we don't do that. We don't do it with others, and we don't do it with ourselves. We surely have a very hard time doing it with ourselves. So, knowing and understanding that that's possible, knowing and understanding and having it as part of my toolbox for life, It's not like we go to school for these things. Unfortunately, this stuff doesn't get taught to our children. I didn't get this in college. Even people who are doing master's degrees in psychology and therapists and psychotherapists and the other ones that prescribe medication. It's like they don't talk about this stuff a lot. There are some, and the practices of those therapists, which I am so grateful for, are so different. But in the all over scheme, like in the health and mental health and emotional body and what's happening with foster children, it's like there's a huge gap, in my view. There's a huge gap that needs to be filled, or wants to be filled, is calling to be filled. And it doesn't have to do with the technicality of the psychology and are you bipolar or are you... I believe that a lot of the pain that we're experiencing in the world could be eliminated by just noticing one another. And forgiveness is a huge part of noticing. Like, you've really got to be there with the other person. You got to be there. And walk a mile in their shoes. Walk 4 steps in their shoes. Like, don't even walk a mile. There's this beautiful story that I tell sometimes because we're never in somebody else's life, And forgiveness often is a very hard thing to access. Very difficult emotion to access for a lot of people because we're so armored and we're so shut down, okay? So when that armor, in German it's called Panzer. Panzer, it's such a great word. Panzer. Panzer. It's like, it really describes armor. The shell of a tortoise. Thank you guys for all your hearts and your beautiful, beautiful faces and flowers that are coming up. So this armor is so thick and strong and ancient that it has become ossified against the heart and the body and the skin. It's like become a second piece of our body. And in order to, first of all, in order to even have an awareness about it, the way isn't to look at yourself in the emotional mirror, but I believe that the way for us is to inward, is go in. So that's what self-image therapy is about. It's like I'm going in and I'm going, what's happening in there? Is it dark? Is it crowded with thoughts and feelings and emotions that are waiting to get out? And the armor, the Panzer, is so strong. It's like a straitjacket. And that's where I believe forgiveness can melt. Because when we really look at one another and we see the God in the other person, we see the grace, and we choose to not look at that which is bad, meaning don't seek your sister's or your brother's guilt, but seek their greatness. And seek their greatness. Not even but. And. Then you give the other person an opportunity and yourself an opportunity to take in something that's so precious. Notice when you do this, like if you choose to do this as a practice, Notice what people do. Like, they won't take you for real. You know, they'll go, "Are you for real? Like, what do you want? Like, what do you want from me? Why are you saying these things?" And, you know, if you try to talk to someone, and I don't know, some of you might be in the program and you have conversations of making amends to people, you know, and then there's like a practice, you get in their face, you connect with them at a level that's really deep and beautiful and powerful and present. And you make your amends, and there's a certain practice that goes with that. And I've noticed, I mean, I don't know, for 36 years or 30 whatever years doing this practice, that when I choose to do this, and sometimes it was very hard, I melted my own ice. I melted my own armor from the inside. And suddenly it wasn't there. And there's a sense of freedom in that is indescribable. The sense of freedom that you have access to when we choose to forgive. I think that's what Jesus meant by, you know, turning the other cheek. It wasn't like, okay, hit me. It was like just looking at it from a different angle. And I don't know if I showed you guys this picture, but I'm gonna bring it over here. I put it here on purpose because I wanted to show you. Here, let me just see if I can. And I want to show this to you because I want to show you. Yeah, this is a long time ago. I think I was like 26 or 27. I want you to see this little. Here, can you see how I was like holding my pinky? I was so discomfortable. Like that didn't, I remember how I felt in my body when this picture was taken. And I was angry. And now when I look at the picture, or when I look at other pictures from my past, before my path got really onto the road less traveled, I mean, that was a choice to walk the path less traveled. Because it wasn't easy. It was simple, but it wasn't easy. You're going to hear me say this a lot. Let's see. Oh, hi, Moon Shadow. Thank you for being here. Oh, thank you so much for coming in, all of you. Thank you. Dragon scales. Is that what dragon scales means? Panzer? Well, in German, Panzer, 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 and I'm pronouncing it the way Germans pronounce it, but it's spelled Panzer, Panzer, is the shell of an armadillo, or the shell. It's actually a tank, you know, a war tank is also called a Panzer, because nothing can penetrate it. And I know that feeling, and it's exhausting. You know, to uphold an armor like that is an emotional exhaustion that depletes all of our senses. It depletes our love, it depletes our life, it depletes the source within us can't keep up the light, you know, because we're trying so hard to keep it dark inside of us. And forgiveness is the fuel that lights this fire for the future. And it cleans out a path of powerful possibility when we let it. And that's why I'm so engaged in these conversations. Maybe it's because we're coming up to the month, you know, of the month of Elul, which is just before the Jewish New Year. There's something also happening inside me, you know, like with this moving that I'm doing and clarity that I'm gaining. And I think a lot of it has to do with being open to seeing where am I in my own way in my life? Who have I not forgiven? And this comes directly out of what I was talking about last week, that once you know that life is really finite, and I've been there, you've heard me talk about this, that the knowledge in my body and the awareness that I don't know what's going to happen in 10 minutes. I can walk across the street and be hit by a car. It makes it doesn't make it urgent, but it brings it to a level of the forefront where you're constantly, or I'm constantly in the awareness of, well, I should say this. It's here. It's on my lips. I needed to go over there to that person. It belongs to that person. And that the venom gets produced when I don't. It's like it gets turned it around. It's kind of like, I know this is a really disgusting metaphor, but you know when you have to go pee and you can't go pee, like you can't relieve yourself. I have the feeling that all of that stuff that needs to come out of us, that it just goes back into the system and it just putrefies everything. So not forgiving for me is kind of like that. Let me just see how many of you are here and who's saying something. It's so beautiful that you guys are here. Moon Shadow. It's 9919. Yes. It is Moon Shadow. Thank you for saying that. I wasn't going to talk about this, but now that you brought it up, it's 9919. And at 9 o'clock and 9 minutes tonight, I am going to be on a call. I'm going to be on a call with a special person in my life. Moon Shadow, can you say a little bit more about that? Because you seem to have a lot of good information, and I would love for you to just put something in there, because I'm not really equipped right now to talk about it. I read up on it a lot today, and it's a very special day. It is. So thank you so much for bringing that up and for saying, thank you for being here. I love that you're here. And you posted something today. I'm going to go look at it. Good to see you. Good to see you, Moon Shadow. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you for adding so much value to this conversation. Please, I would love to see what you have to say, and I would love for you. This is a community, you know? It's like I'm not the only one here. You guys are all here together. By the way, Loopy, can you give me time updates if you can hear me? Thank you so much, sweetheart. The whole week is a palindrome of numbers. Yeah, thank you, sweets. Okay. I would love to just hear what you have to say, what all of you have to say. Thank you, sweetheart. We're not going to make this a long one, so. Oh, Moon Shadow, I'm delighted that you're here. This is such a beautiful, you know, I was talking about Anna. I was giving Anna some gratitude and shout out, and there's so many of you that, I can't remember who said it. I think Hafiz said it. Hafiz said that every human being is another world unto themselves. And when you guys come to these calls and to these conversations, there's an energy that gets ignited, you know, your willingness, your ability to come and to punch a button and to bring your energy. That's all this is. It's like, you know, there's a cable and suddenly there you are, and suddenly you can hear me, suddenly I can hear you, suddenly we can exchange magic and madness and mystery and mastery and so many powerful things. How blessed are we that, you know, I get to just do a voice recording or a video, and you can feel and sense and see and co-create with me what you see in my face, and then you can go give it to somebody else, and vice versa. So when you come to these calls, and those of you who are watching later, it's still the same thing. you bring your energy, you bring your tenderness, you leave an emotional, spiritual, psychological, and embodied imprint here. And I'm so grateful for that. So in Farsi, we have this saying. Let me see who else is here. Hi, Ryan. Thank you so much for being here. Wow, this is so cool, Anna. Hi, Ryan. I'm delighted that you said yes to yourself and you're showing up here. I don't know you, but I'm so happy to say hello to you. Thank you for being here. In Farsi, we have a saying, and I just did the ceremony with a very good friend of mine yesterday. We did a salting ceremony that we all carry a lot of energy, and this is thousands of years old. You know, when you guys, shamans in America, do saging, in Iran, where my parents grew up and my grandparents grew up, and there's something called the evil eye. All over the Middle East, they have it, you know, and the evil eye is the piece that's considered the gaze. You can have evil energy, like you can have thoughts about wanting or wishing somebody something negative. We do that, like jealousy, you know. That's what the 10 Commandments is essentially all about. It's like, you know, don't wish on your neighbor's calf, wife, horse, whatever. It's like, because these feelings of jealousy, envy, gluttony, all of that is an energy compound in our body. And you know how sometimes when you look at someone and they're thinking something negative, you can feel it. We can feel it. We are sensing, breathing, living, you know. We're animals. We haven't been this upright that long. We've been doing a lot of low to the ground, ear to the ground. We could hear elephants coming thousands of miles away. We're doing that a lot longer than what we're doing now, upright speaking, frontal lobe. So it's in our bodies. Like, somebody can walk into a room and you can sense, ooh, what's that? So this evil eye consideration is, check your thoughts. And how does this play into forgiveness, and how does that work? So when I'm carrying animosity towards someone, and I haven't forgiven them or myself or the other person or for whatever they did, and we are now we're at the level, we're talking high level horror stories, you know, mothers that sexually abused their children. And I say mothers because that's not a common theme. It's not something that the world talks about. Or murderers, you know, husbands who've murdered their children in front of the mother and then mutilated the mother, kept the mother alive so that she would suffer for the rest of her lives, and then killed themselves. I mean, horror stories. So how do you forgive something like that? How does that even work in humanity? How do we even come to consider that? So I want to tell you a story about a friend of mine, Azim Khamisa. Azim Khamisa is the father of a beautiful young man, beautiful young man, 22 years ago or 20 years ago. Azim Khamisa's son was a student at San Diego University, and he needed to make some money on the side, and he became a pizza delivery guy because he needed to make some money. And he delivered a pizza to a group of kids, like literally kids, between 13 and 16, I think. And it was an initiation. And the initiation consisted of ordering a pizza and then killing the delivery guy. That was the initiation into this. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was a group but, you know, the initiation was to kill the pizza boy. And so Azim's son got murdered, stabbed, I think, tons of times. I mean, it was over and over. And it wasn't just like they killed him, but there was, it was so unbelievably horrific and deliberate. And the kid that did this went to prison, went to juvenile, and Azim sat with his anger and his rage for about 5 years. And then he started to understand what this poison, this anger and this rage was doing to him. You guys can, by the way, you can look him up. His name is Azim, A-Z-I-M, Khamisa, K-A-M-I-S-A, Azim Khamisa. He's a wonderful man. He lives in San Diego. But let me take you to the rest of the story. And it's a long story, but I'm going to try and shorten it. So he goes to prison, and he says, I have to go see this kid that killed my son. And the grandfather of the kid who killed his son was also in prison. And then they started a dialogue. So Azim realized that forgiveness is the fuel for the future, and that he was suffocating under his rage for the killer of his son. So he goes to prison. He starts a kind of a communication with the grandfather of this boy. And they start talking, and they start figuring out that they both have a responsibility. The father and the grandfather. The father of the boy who got killed and the grandfather of the boy who's in prison. And to make a long story short, Azim and the grandfather of the boy who was the perpetrator started going around the world and teaching forgiveness in high schools all over the world. And they still do. This is now 22 years later. And Azim has forgiven his son's killer. And he was supposed to come out of prison either this year or last year, I can't remember. And he is working for the Azim Khamisa Foundation, or the son's, it's under the son's name, the son who got murdered. And so the killer is now working for the foundation, and none of this could have happened without forgiveness. And they are flying all over the world. They're in Australia and here, and by 2020 they want to kind of bring 1 billion people together to practice forgiveness all over the world. So it's powerful. And forgiveness is never for the other person. Forgiveness is for me, for you, for whoever is choosing to practice the act of forgiveness. You know, being angry at someone is like taking poison and asking somebody else to die. That's all it is. So continuing to be upset and hateful towards somebody, it doesn't work. You weren't sent on this earth to be so full of hate or jealousy or envy or evil or cruel. You were sent here to create. We're creators. We don't go into the backyard and take a bunch of acid and pour it all over the garden. But essentially, not forgiving is that. So, let me just see who's here. You're part Russian? Oh, Pamela! Hi, Pamela! So good to see you. Oh my God, you guys are so sweet. Thank you. Monica. Thank you, Monica, for showing up here. Thank you all for showing up here. Yeah, Lupi, thank you so much for letting me know what time it is. I'm grateful. Yeah, so forgiveness is a choice, just like joy. To be joyful is a choice. We just had a joyfulness Shabbat on Friday, and it was phenomenal. My beautiful friend Michelle and I, we host them together. My sister was there, some old friends, some new friends, and the power of choice, which we often forget, you know? Choose. You can choose your life into existence. Being angry, not forgiving, not being happy is a choice. And I know many of you will may text me or say something in this string, and he'll go, no, it's not. You don't have any money, and you're sick, and you're this, and you're that. No. Whatever life we have to live, whether I'm dying or whether you're in a position that's hard, or whether you're going through a divorce, or whether, a friend of mine was telling me about a friend who is a young woman, and she's losing her mother to cancer, and there's so many children, and inside of the bubble of that, whatever life is handing us, okay, we still have a choice. You can either choose to be miserable with whatever time God has given you, or you can choose to take every single moment and turn it into wonder. That's called living in the tension of the paradox of life. Even though there's something going on, you can still choose, like Jesus turned the other cheek. So this whole, I think you've all heard me talk about this, I'm going to say it one more time. This whole business about Jesus turning the other cheek is like when you look over there, you see something. But when you choose, because he didn't just turn the other cheek because there was a bird calling. He chose to move. He chose. He deliberate. I mean, it says it in the scripture. It says he turned the other cheek. That wasn't because something called his attention, because he deliberately made a choice to look over there. This is a good Jewish girl talking about Jesus. It was pretty amazing, So there is agency in forgiveness. There's agency and powerfulness in your word, and in the letting go of what doesn't serve. So what are you going to do? What are you choosing to do? What are you choosing? How are you choosing to be in your life? In this one life that we get to live? What are you choosing? You want to spend your life being angry and pissed off at people? Do you think they care? You are the creator and the masterful artist of your own life. I am the masterful artist in my life. And I can tell you that there's been situations that have been less than joyful. And even in that less than joyfulness, there's magic that happens. You can incite and ignite and accentuate and elevate the wonder of the world inside you in every second, in every moment. And I can't wait to hear about it. Thank you guys for all your beautiful hearts. I love your hearts. Andrew, thank you so much for coming on. Anna, I love you, sweetheart. Thank you for being such a generous creator of goodness and magic. You make the world a bigger place. Let me just see, who's this? Oh, Andrew, what a sweet thing to say. I don't know you, I've never met you, but I'm really glad that you're here. And we're going to do many more of these. And in March, we're going to have an event. And I'd like to have these conversations by breathing the same air, Nothing is like being in a room with the people you care about. Nothing. It's just the most powerful aphrodisiac. And to learn from one another and with one another in a room. And I'm so excited, and it's going to be in LA, and I would love to have you there. It's a bigger conversation. It's a very high level conversation. And it's going to be a space where you can actually start melting your armor, because it's safe. And I can't wait to see you and to meet you and to hug you. I used to say hug, so I'm going to focus on using the word embrace, because that's really what I want to do. Is I want to, and I hope you feel this through this, the magic of video, that I embrace you, all of you, the good, the bad, the ugly, because we all got it. We all have the sunlight and the brightness, and there's an underbelly under there. It's all fine. We've all got it, It starts getting complicated when we do not want to acknowledge the underbelly. But it's there. So being able to say, I've got a hard time forgiving. I really want to take 2 forks and stick them in your eye. You know, that I use that example all the time. Marcel, would be awesome. Way to turn 60. Yes, sweetheart, you're going to be here. You're going to be, come to LA, be with us. We would love to have you. Anna, you too, sweetie. As many people that have already said they want to. So we're going to start creating a forum where people can actually send their friends, and you can start, making payments towards, or just get your ticket, or, so I can start creating the space. It's going to be 3 or 4 days. So I'm very excited about it. And the reason why it's 3 or 4 days and not 1 day or 2 days is because something develops after 3 days. And I've done enough retreats and have been with enough people from 5,000 to 5 to see the dynamic of what happens when people are together in a space and you allow the armor slowly, scale by scale, Thank you for all the hearts. When you allow the armor to melt, I, as a mentor and as a leader, see my responsibility to uphold you, to lift you while you're climbing, while we're all climbing together, and not let the energy down. So it's definitely going to be 3 or 4 days, most probably 4. So get yourself ready. Start melting the armor from the inside, even just a tiny little bit at a time. It's going to be powerful, powerful experiences. And I can't wait to see you. And until then, we're going to do lots and lots of Facebook Lives, and we're going to talk about all these things that we as humanity have had a hard time to talk about. So stay with me. Be with me. Thank you for making the time to come and be here in such a vulnerable way. Because I can feel you guys. I know that you guys are all over there, out there. I don't know who you are. And I can feel the tears and the joy, both at the same time. And you don't have to say anything, you don't have to put a comment in there. You can keep your sanctity and your vulnerability close to your heart. Just know that you and I and everyone, all 7.5 billion of us, are here to blossom. We're not here to remain a bud. We're here to blossom. So give yourself the gift of blossoming if you are willing. It's so much freedom. And I'm delighted that you're listening. That's the first step. So thank you for being here. Loopy, those are beautiful hearts. Recover situations in prayer and uphold others. Yes, we do. We do, Anna. Thank you so much. So I am going to let myself go and send you lots of love and kisses. Moon Shadow, Anna, Marcel, Andrew, Loopy, and I don't know who else was here. Let's see. Thank you so much for being here. Pamela was here. Pamela Nevercar, I think, signed in. So I'm delighted that you guys were here. Thank you so much. For those of you who are watching afterwards, please let me know which corner of the universe you're lighting up today, or whenever you're watching this. And if this has given you something, and if it has gifted you an opening in your heart, then please share it with someone else. Because if you and I need an opening in our heart, trust me, other people will too. And you giving this gift to someone else is going to totally make their day. I send you lots of love. Oh, Jennifer Hines. Hi, Jennifer. Go watch the whole thing. I'm just about to get off. I'm so delighted that you could all be here. And we'll do another one. Next one is on Thursday morning at 10 a.m. Pacific. And I can't wait to see you. I'll send you lots of love till then. Bye. Thank you.